it stops, it doesn't chase the carrot anymore. What happens to that carrot? It moves further away from the donkey's mouth. It swings away. When the donkey stops, carrot still has momentum and swings further away until that carrot's 4 foot in front of the donkey's mouth. Again, the donkey doesn't do anything. The donkey just remains still, and then the carrot starts swinging towards the donkey. And soon it swings so close to the donkey's mouth, the last thing the donkey needs to do, and it kind of is important part of the path of meditation. The last thing the donkey does is open the door of its mouth to let the carrot come in. A lot of times people, when they do meditation, they're sitting there doing nothing. These great experiences happen naturally, and sometimes they're not quite sure what's happening. That's why I need to talk about it more. And as beautiful experiences start to happen, they get afraid. And nothing's happening. But still, so they're not doing anything, but amazing things are happening. What's going on? And this is, always remember the donkey and the carrot simile, because that will give you much more confidence that all you need to do is to let that delicious carrot come into your mouth. Open the door of your mouth to the carrot. And when you do things like that, amazing experiences happen, and you don't actually do anything. You don't sort of run after the carrot anymore. You become still and peaceful. And in that stillness, in that peace, you understand what meditation is and how easy it is. So it means that anybody can do it if they have the courage, if they have the nerve, just to be still and let things happen to them. And it's always incredibly safe, beautiful and inspiring what happens. Once the mind is still, it acts like the still forest pool in the similes. Still forest pool is where there's no waves or even small disturbances on the surface of the pond. So it acts like a mirror. When the lake, the water, is so still, then it acts like a mirror. And in the ancient traditions of Southeast Asia, East Asia, they'd always say the best way to see the moon at night, the full moon, as the moon will be full tomorrow night. The best way to see that is by looking at its reflection in the still forest pool. This is referring to the insights of deep meditation. When your mind is still, it becomes energized. And when it's energized, you can see so clearly and so deeply without distortion. And because there's no distortion, that is where the most beautiful understandings and insights happen. So that's what we do with meditation. I usually guide the beginnings of the meditation, and after the beginnings of the meditation are completed, then I usually become quiet. And as I am quiet, then we just let this meditation go and see what happens. Please try not to disturb the process. Just sit there, mindful, calm, and we see how deeply we can all go. And towards the end of the meditation, I will make the announcement it's soon we're going to come out of meditation. I don't just ring gongs anymore, and the reason is because you can be so still and peaceful. Ringing a gong is just so disturbing. It's like pouring hot water in a cool glass. So I'll just tell you, now in a few minutes we're going to end the meditation. I always ask you how you feel at the end of the meditation, so that you are actually now checking to see what meditation has done for you, to see just how the mind has relaxed and the body has become very comfortable. And I mention that at the end of the meditations because I want you to feel that this meditation is very, very safe and very beneficial, no matter who you are. Okay, so let's get started. These doors are such beautiful air coming through here, but I do know that if people walk in and walk out, it can be disturbing. So can I just ask if we can close the doors at the front of the hall? Is that okay? Good. Excellent. So please, again, sit down and close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, you have more mindfulness available to be able to be sensitive, especially to your body position. So to make sure you're comfortable, and after a while of practicing mindfulness and kindness, you realize that getting a comfortable body is not easy. It feels easy, but it takes a little of persistence. And it's amazing how comfortable your body can become with mindfulness and kindness. So one of the methods we usually do is doing a body scan. And you can do your own form of body scan if you wish. If you wish to follow me, start with your toes. How are your toes feeling right now? And like you, I was talking to people earlier, making a few arrangements, basically thinking, doing busyness. So now I don't need to do that anymore. Now is the time just to be caring to my own body. It's like I'm taking my attention from the big world outside, which is vast, now into my body. And from the body I will go into the mind. But first of all, with the body, how are your toes? As I'm feeling my toes, I can hear sound outside. But then I kind of zoom in to the area of my own body. I usually describe it as like creating a bubble. And the bubble is my area. And any noise is outside my bubble. And I do not allow it to disturb. It's like it's not my busyness. Just aware of my toes and making sure they're all relaxed. Relaxed means comfortable. I don't need to hold them comfortable because I will not be able to maintain a comfort which has been manufactured. A comfort which is natural, easy, peaceful. And then soon I always notice that my toes soon become more relaxed than I thought was possible. And the magic ingredient is always a kindness. Sometimes people ask these amazingly wise questions. What is kindness? Real kindness. And I know real kindness by how it feels. It feels just so at ease and relaxed. Sometimes I feel like even my toes are like expanding, that any limitations have been taken away. They're free, at ease, not put into little boxes, but free to express themselves. That's just toes. And then I move my attention from the toes up to the balls of the feet. And I feel their special sensations. Each part of the body has a different sensation I can notice. When that part of my feet feel at ease, I go further to the insteps, the uppers of my feet, the skin. And as I feel those different parts of my feet, I make sure that it's like knowing that they are cared for. As I look at them, it's not to punish them or to hurt them. It's actually to be kind and allow them to relax. So nothing is held tight. Nothing is squashed or stretched. Because I'm sitting on a mat, I also imagine that they sink into the soft cotton of that mat and get to the heels of my feet. Allow them to be at ease, nothing pushing, nothing forcing. It's like the whole 2 feet relaxing to the max. I'm kind of surprised how much ease I can perceive in those work surfaces called my feet. I can even feel, the smoothness of the blood flow through my feet. When all the muscles and everything else is relaxed and at ease, even all those fluids which run through my feet, they all run smoothly and slowly. And I get up to my ankles. And sometimes I wonder, just the cross-sectional area of those ankles is quite small, and that has to put up and accommodate all the heavy weight above and the walking or the running and I feel gratitude for parts of my body. And not just gratitude, the kindness which intermingles with feelings of gratitude. It's like, thank you for looking after me. Ankles, anything you need? And I have a willingness to listen to these parts of my body. A willingness to do whatever is needed to bring comfort to things like my ankles. I notice the parts of my feet which I relaxed before. Once they are comfortable, it's like having a lot of business to do, but now it's getting done. And there's a sense of freedom and ease. I have feet, but they're so at ease. They don't ask me to do anything. And go from the ankles to the calves of my legs. And those calves of my legs, they're pretty quiet. But I don't let mindfulness pass them by. I just really get to know how the calves of my feet feel. I'm not looking to find fault. I'm just looking to know. And to know so that I can care. I do feel that part of my calves are pressing against the toes, so I'm going to slightly move. I'm always willing to help my body, as my body is willing to help me. And then keep moving up my calves. You can feel that sensation which only happens when I am mindful of the feelings in the calves of my feet. Every part of the body I can be sensitive to, and each part has a different sensation, and I can recognize where I am on the body by the sensation. My awareness can know now. Once the calves of my legs are really relaxed, you go further up to my knees. And people of my age are often complaining about sore knees. So I always give those knees extra special mindfulness and kindness. It's like I'm seeing someone I haven't seen for a while. I always wish them well. In order for my knees to be really comfortable and healed from any wrong use, I imagine them kind of expanding so that any blood, any lymph, any chi energy can flow through them easily. They can only do that when they're fully relaxed. And that's how I imagine my knees now. No impediments, no blockages. So the body can flow through my knees. It has that special feeling. You don't have any English words for it. Knee feeling. And it's comfortable. Because it's comfortable, I know I can stay there. And it's safe. In fact, it's very beneficial. So I go around my knees and up to my thighs. Lots of muscles there. But I don't need too much awareness of that area of my body, because it always does its job, does its work without any complaint. I just kind of try to pick up any feeling, thigh feeling. It's different from my calves. But once I get to know that feeling, it's kind of relaxing it, being kind to it, and just even talking to it. Thighs, may you be happy and well. And learning how to relax them. As I often say at this time, mindfulness gives you the opportunity for feedback. You change an attitude or change the position slightly, and then you see what it does. The feedback comes that even the thighs can relax a bit more, and that feels good. And then from the thighs, I go to my buttocks, and often mention your buttocks pressed against the cushion, transferring the weight of the body into the cushion. That feeling is quite strong. But nevertheless, as long as it's balanced, not too far to one side or the other, that bottom feeling will eventually disappear. It's teaching me something about the body's sensations. For them to vanish, you just need to make sure they don't change too much. And it's kind of even. So that bottom feeling, I know there's nothing more I need to do. So that work is finished. So then I go up to my waist. So I learn to sit in the best position which I can for meditation, which at this point I will stretch my back slightly and push my waist closer to my chest. It feels good. I've experimented, done things differently so many times in meditation. You find out the best position for you. And once you have that position, it's a kind of comfort I know I can maintain without any problem for long periods of time. And I keep sweeping upwards. Here I usually sweep up my digestive tract that forms much of what's in the bottom part of my torso. And as I sweep upwards, sometimes I can feel some tightness or tension in those intestines or colon. It's just the food which you have to eat. It's almost like you can feel it in there. And you don't need to do anything drastic, just be kind. So you're not squeezing up against that passageway. You're allowing it to be open, at ease. And that always feels really good. That's how you get to have a good digestion. And keep going upwards. And eventually I do come to my stomach. And there, any food still left in there, or I just had a cup of tea before I came in here. All of that you can kind of feel. And you imagine it just to relax, to settle. And the stomach can digest that whenever it needs. And from the stomach, go up further to the lungs. This is a time of respiratory diseases. You get allergies sometimes. But I just noticed sitting here comfortably at peace, I don't need to breathe so much. The car is not, or rather the engine of my body is not running hard, so it doesn't need so much fuel, so much oxygen. And it feels very nice to be comfortable. And then I go up to my heart region. In that heart region, I can't really feel my heart, but I just feel the region there, making sure that everything in that area is at ease. Again, I don't need to breathe so much, or for my heart to pump so much. I'm not exerting myself. I'm relaxing instead. So the whole region gets to be smooth and easy. And then when you pass, I mention this because I found it inspiring. When you pass things like, female breasts, how does it feel? Please give it some kindness. And then I would be pretty sure to find out that your likelihood of breast cancer gets decreased enormously. You get to know that area and get to be kind to it. And then go further up to my shoulders. I don't know about you, but my shoulders seem always to be tense at this time. And I realize if I didn't learn how to relax them, they'd be often in pain. So I just zoom in my attention on my shoulders, and I learn how to relax them to the max. I kind of imagine that they're being stretched apart when they don't need to be. So I imagine those muscles, and imagine both ends, letting go of any pressure on them, so they can just sink back into unstretched comfort. And I go further down my arms, past my elbows, past my forearms, to my hands. And then I become aware of the fingers on the end of my hands. They are so full of nerve endings. It's easy to know how they feel. But I make sure that I ask each one of them, how are you? And relax those muscles in my fingers. I relax them by asking them, how do you feel? And I just ask that. My fingers said they need to be adjusted. And I always comply. I always work with my body, never against it. And now my fingers, the right finger's on top of the left finger's thumb slightly touching. It's a standard position, which today feels great. I don't always meditate like this. And then I enjoy the relaxation of the top part of my body, relaxed to the max. And then I go back to the head, the neck, making sure the head is not too far forward or too far back. Not to the left or the right. To the optimum position. You can't make things perfect, but you can make them very, very comfy. And then I become aware of the muscles around my eyes, my nose and my mouth. And I learn to find the optimum position for them. So the muscles around the eyes aren't tense, around the nose is open and peaceful, and even the mouth is closed but not shut tight, and nothing is tight. Everything is peaceful and at ease. And then I realize I've now completed the sweep of the body, the most common areas where I can feel sensations. There may be other parts of your body you're aware of. If you need to just be with them for a little while, relax them and make sure they're at ease. Then you soon come to this point where the whole body has been brought to a sense of ease. And it feels comfortable. Such thorough, even relaxation, I always find very, very pleasant. This is just the beginning of meditation. It's still really, really nice. And then from the body I go to the mind. What's happening is because I've relaxed the bodily feelings, they're very, very subdued now, so they can disappear. I start to become more aware of the mind. Especially I start usually with being aware of peace. What does peace mean to you? And how beautiful is experiences of peace? And how peaceful are you? You don't become peaceful by doing things. You become peaceful by letting things disappear. You let the past disappear. You let the future vanish. And the way that is done is by not giving the past and future importance. Just give importance, value to peace, to the present, to now. And in these moments, I become more and more aware of the beauty, the joy which comes from present moment awareness. But I also know if I keep thinking and putting things in words, it can so easily take me off into a disturbing description. Instead, I give importance also to the silence. In my life I've seen so much more beauty in silent awareness. To be silent, I don't measure anything. A measureless, uncomparing awareness. How do you feel? How relaxed is your body? What does deep relaxation feel like? And how peaceful is the mind? Hopefully you can understand how joyful silence, peace, in the world are not interacting with it. Shortly, I will ask you to open your eyes, but don't move too quickly. See if you can open your eyes and carry on meditating for a minute. And slowly start moving your body and to come out from the meditation. Good. It's just a few minutes before 4 now. So it's the opportunity. Finished early, as I said I would. So if there's any questions on the meditation, we can do the Q&A now, and then later on we have to vacate the hall so to get ready for the AGM. Have the internet questions? No internet questions?
I said we wouldn't have any today, sorry Ajahn.
Okay, never mind.
Just because of the time.
So, any questions from the floor? Did you enjoy that session? I found it very comfortable at the beginning with the nice breeze coming through the 2 open fire doors. But there was a little bit of noise. But that never disturbed me. Did it disturb you? Now Ajahn Chah used to say, kept on saying this, it's never that noise disturbs you, it's you who always disturb the noise. And it took me a long time to understand what he meant. What he meant, one of the important things which that taught me, is that you don't have to feel like a victim. Noise is noise. When you accept it, embrace it, let it be, and then it can disappear. It kind of vanishes in the distance. Or like the time just doing walking meditation, and getting very, very peaceful in the walking meditation, and then just hearing a sound which really felt like it was a long distance away. And then when I realized that I was a young monk at the time, and there was somebody calling my name, and it was kind of weird. I could hear it, but it felt like a long distance away. And then when I attended to it, I found out it was another monk who was shouting in my ear hole. It was kind of weird that how come that's how you perceived it, the sound a long distance away. And I realized the cause was because I'd forgot I needed to go to an appointment. But the interesting thing was is how the mind would just perceive it as not that important. And so you perceived it as a sound at a great distance, which you could hardly hear, even though the monk was shouting as loud as he could to get my attention. Fortunately, they knew this is what happens when you meditate. You tend to allow any sound or disturbance not to be important and to almost vanish. It's the same with all the other disturbances. And instead, you just watch this moment. And soon, the body and its feelings, things like breathing, start to get more remote from your perception. And then, of course, what usually happens is that you start to focus in the center of perception. And that's when you usually see these things we call nimittas. Like the mind gets brightened, it gets energized. And even though your 5 senses are being subdued, your 6th sense, the mind, just gathers all that energy to itself and becomes very strong, but focused still. And that's when naturally focused. And the trick is not to do anything, just to be in this moment, just to observe with kindness. And then after a little while you start to see like beautiful lights grow in the center of the mind. And those are what we always call these nimittas, which come up. And they're very beautiful, very satisfying, they're full of a lot of joy. And they satisfy the mind. They satisfy it for long enough so that the stillness remains. And if you ask yourself, don't ever ask yourself, what should I be watching? Just ask yourself only, what am I watching? No shoulds. You're relaxing, you're letting go. And it's a natural process to go to what's by far the most delightful, attractive, the most peaceful. And then you see beautiful lights in the mind, still, peaceful and powerful. And that becomes that stage of the meditation. So has anyone got any questions now? Okay, it's just couple of minutes to 4. So now we can finish off the session, and then I would ask, as we usually do, I will bow 3 times, and please, if you will go out of the room, because we then have to start registering everybody who comes in, who participates in the annual general meeting. So it's a good time now for those of you who want to have a cup of tea, visit the toilet, have some juices or whatever. Is that okay? Okay, so let's finish off the session. So first time I've done this by 4 p.m. for quite many weeks.